So another day dawns. It is now the 6th of January, with no news of the whereabouts of John George or John Hardy, who disappeared just before Christmas. It's thought to be maybe the Orihuela Costa region of Spain, sort of in the south of Spain, Alicante province. And a lot of searches have gone on, and it's thought that John was probably unalived at some point in December, around about the 14th of December. That was the last time he was heard from, in a sort of very disconcerting phone call, where he looked a little bit sort of worried, let's say. And anyway, he hasn't been heard from at all since then. And his family seem convinced that somebody has decided to unalive John for whatever reason, and they have been told that he is deceased, but what they've not been given is the location of John's body. So John is 37 years old. He is a son. He is a father of two boys. He is a brother. He is a cousin, an uncle, a friend, and a grandson to his 92-year-old grandma. So, whatever the circumstances of whatever's happened to John, he's a person, there are family and friends who loved him and are looking for him, and what they want is to be able to bring his body home. Whatever's happened to John, it has happened. So I think they realise that that's likely to be what has happened to him. But they just need him to take him home, give him a decent burial. Um, it's awful, isn't it, to think that they don't know where he is. So they're out in Spain. They're looking for John, but they've got a bit of I think, an impossible task, unfortunately. So John's father, Billy, this is him on the left-hand side of this video. He's in poor health. He's had two heart attacks. His wife is in Spain with him. She has had a stroke. So they're suffering, they've got ill health, and they're out searching the Orihuela Costa for their son. I think there's more rain today forecast in that area. They've got It literally is almost an impossible task, because there's massive areas of greenery, campo as it's called. There's multiple, apart from the beaches themselves and the cliffs, there's lakes, canals. Really, without some sort of a location ping or some better information as to where John's body might be, it really is impossible. And there's been some professional search teams have been trying to help. They were out for a few days. They've not, they can't stay forever, I suppose. They still have, they could not find any trace of John, and they've had to wind up that search for now. Whether they'll come back at a future date, I'm not sure. Now, the Guardia Civil, the Spanish police, they will be looking for John one way or another. Their investigation will take a different, they will take out the emotion of the investigation. Obviously, for John's family, this is his family and friends. This is a personal thing. They want answers as soon as possible. But the Guardia Civil and the Policía Local or Nacional, or whoever's dealing with this case, they will sort of go through it in their own way, and we can only hope that they're conducting an investigation, looking at CCTV, phone pings, etc. Maybe that will. So I really think that unless somebody actually finds a conscience and anonymously tips off where John is, or it will only be electronic data that will pinpoint where he might be and give some resolution to this devastated family. If you know anything, there is a phone number there. There's a £30,000 reward for information leading to finding John. So it's a big reward. People shouldn't need a reward to do the right thing, of course, but sometimes a reward just helps, prompt someone's conscience. Um, they just want him back. They just want to take him home. They want him with them. No, they don't want to think of him lying around somewhere in the Spanish countryside, or who knows, where he is, but they want him with them. And that's, I think whoever's done it, whatever type of person they are, I think surely everyone's got family, got friends, and can imagine how it would feel if that was one of your family members or one of your friends. Maybe at some point somebody will just give that location. So if you do know any information, well, on this poster is his brother Darren's phone number, but you can just ring 112. You can ring the police in Spain. They will give you someone who can speak English, just if you have anything that might help with finding him. So this is John's brother, Darren. He's also in Spain. So most of the family is standing outside the apartment that is the last known location of John. And, there's been some disturbing news reported in the newspapers in Ireland, saying that this is like, not, I don't know if you'd call it gang related, but, that there's, who knows what the reason is that John has been targeted. We don't know. I don't know where it is. But according to the Sunday World newspaper, the family have had death threats themselves as they search for his body in Spain. And according to the Sunday World, his family are under threat from gangs with links to loyalist paramilitaries. So this is what the Sunday World says. I don't know that this is true, but apparently they've been warned their lives are in danger from criminals linked to the terror group. And according to Darren and his father, they're taking it seriously. They are certain that John was murdered in the Spanish city of Alicante, and not in Alicante. There's always been some confusion. It's not. It's the province of Alicante. It's Orihuela Costa, and the man they believe carried out the killing is a Northern Ireland drug dealer who is affiliated to the Southeast Antrim UDA. Again, now there's been a lot of rumours flying around on social media. I know on the Facebook page, Let's Find John George, there was a lot of accusations flying around, which now is not happening anymore because they have been told, apparently, according to what they posted, that, posting theories, etc., online is harmful to the investigation. And of course it is, because these are, I don't know what reasons they've got for what they said on the Facebook group or the things they've shown. But yeah, I know that the Guardia won't be happy with that at all. They don't like all that noise on social media. And they will be investigating in their own way, in their own time. But I know for John's family, nothing will be quick enough. Nothing will, there's a limit to what they want. At the end of the day, that's their loved one, and they want to know now what's happened to him. And it's difficult to just wait for the investigation to unfold, isn't it? Anyway, they believe that he was lured to Spain deliberately. It was a targeted attack. And again, that it's worrying, because if it was planned, is because to me, if it wasn't planned and they had to dispose of him quickly, because it wasn't a planned thing, it's more likely that he will be easier to find. But if it was planned, that makes it even less likely, doesn't it, or more difficult to imagine that it will be found. But still, we have to be positive. Today could be the day. It's a shame about the weather conditions again, but today could be the day that John is found or somebody has a conscience and lets them know where he is. You have to be positive. Uh, so they're taking these threats seriously, but it's not stopping them obviously looking for John. And they said they're from Twinbrook in West Belfast, the family, and they said they've been plunged into a nightmare since their last call from 37-year-old John on December the 14th. So Darren said, once John got here and knew he was in trouble, he rang home, and my dad told him to get on the next flight and get out. And that was the last conversation we had with him. So, sounds like there was another, call, and John expressed concern about his safety, and his dad told him to get the next flight home, and obviously didn't get an opportunity to do that. Darren says through the Sunday World that John was murdered on December the 15th. And we were told before we came over that John was shot dead by this man who is connected to a group. He sent word back home that he had shot John and he was lying in a lemon field on the 15th. Then people came out to clean up. John's parents, Billy and Sharon, and his sisters, Courtney and Caitlin, have also had to endure social media speculation about John's past, according to the Sunday World, and deeply hurtful comments about their family. Billy has spoken about his son's involvement with drugs after his promising amateur boxing career ended at 16. So, they did say when his auntie and his grandma did a vigil in Ireland, they did say John has a past. He's not a saint. But I think the thing is, to me, I know that if that's true, that's true. But I don't think that affects the fact that still his family need answers, and especially his boys. He's got two boys. These things can sort of perpetuate hate, can't they, through generations? But, they deserve to know what's happened to their father. And they deserve to know, to be able to bring, or their son or grandson, etc. But still, we have to be positive. Today could be the day. It's a shame about the weather conditions again, but today could be the day that John is found or somebody has a conscience and lets them know where he is. You have to be positive. So they're taking these threats seriously, but it's not stopping them obviously looking for John. And they said they're from Twinbrook in West Belfast, the family, and they said they've been plunged into a nightmare since their last call from 37-year-old John on December the 14th. So Darren said, once John got here and knew he was in trouble, he rang home, and my dad told him to get on the next flight and get out. And that was the last conversation we had with him. So, sounds like there was another, call, and John expressed concern about his safety, and his dad told him to get the next flight home, and obviously didn't get an opportunity to do that. Darren says through the Sunday World that John was murdered on December the 15th. And we were told before we came over that John was shot dead by this man who is connected to a group. He sent word back home that he had shot John and he was lying in a lemon field on the 15th. Then people came out to clean up. John's parents, Billy and Sharon, and his sisters, Courtney and Caitlin, have also had to endure social media speculation about John's past, according to the Sunday World, and deeply hurtful comments about their family. Billy has spoken about his son's involvement with drugs after his promising amateur boxing career ended at 16. So, they did say when his auntie and his grandma did a vigil in Ireland, they did say John has a past. He's not a saint. But I think the thing is, to me, I know that if that's true, that's true. But I don't think that affects the fact that still his family need answers, and especially his boys. He's got two boys. These things can sort of perpetuate hate, can't they, through generations? But, they deserve to know what's happened to their father. And they deserve to know, to be able to bring, or their son or grandson, etc. Anyway, Darren says he's never been involved in crime regarding guns. And then this online speculation about what led to his death has been compared to the wild theories about the disappearance of Jay Slater in Tenerife last year. I mean, that was awful, wasn't it? Lots of things being said that were ridiculous. Anyway, we know what Jay Slater, it seems like, there's no evidence that his death was related to drugs. But then again, Jay Slater had a past. To be honest, most young men have probably got some sort of a past. There's that phase that people go through, especially young men, they get involved in things, they do silly things. And you hope that they come through that. And Jay, it seemed like he had come through that. He'd been involved in something not very nice, and then he seemed to be making a go of his life, and he was an apprentice, etc. And he died through a very sad accident. But anyway, according to the Sunday World, they talk about, of course, there were all these theories about John linking him to the Russian mafia, Albanian mobsters, Moroccan gangsters, and the notorious international Kinahan gang, which I don't even know who they are, I don't want to know really, which has a base in the exclusive Orihuela area of Alicante, where John was last seen alive. They keep referring to it as exclusive. It's not that exclusive. So anyway, Darren says the family are ignoring the online ghouls and they believe the truth is closer to home. He says, stuff like that doesn't bother me because I know John was not that type of person, and I know the way people could jump on the bandwagon for 5 minutes of fame, says the 34-year-old. So you do have to be careful of that, because a lot of people, unfortunately, will peddle the theories because they get more attention on their TikToks or YouTubes. But, to me, the whole point of this case is not about even, it's just about finding John for his family. Where is he? Somebody have a heart, have a conscience. We've seen Billy, his dad, crying on the videos that he's been making. He's heartbroken. Just to find, he just wants his body back. Whatever's happened. I'm sure he would like to see whoever's done it prosecuted as well, but that's not the main issue for Billy and this family. The main issue at the moment is, where is John? They just want him back. So Darren went on to say, if I thought that John was that type of person, I would maybe be embarrassed, but I'm far from embarrassed. I'm very proud of John. He was a very good boxer when he was younger, an all-Ireland champion, and very well respected in the community. Well, they've certainly got a big following in the community. We can see that from the from the people that attended the vigils, from the people on the Facebook groups, like thousands and thousands of people sharing prayers every day. I think there's definitely, a following in the community. It's not like, oh, well, he's just like, I've got no sympathy for him because he's this, that, or the other. There's definitely a lot of sympathy behind this family. We're just a normal family, he said. We're not involved in gangs, we're not involved in paramilitaries, we're not involved in anything. This is what Darren says through the Sunday World newspaper. And he says the support of the community at home has kept the family going as they search for John. But he says they've had little support from Spanish police, who dismissed their pleas that John was not a missing person but a murder victim. I think that maybe was in the first instance. I don't know, because I don't know the intricacies of the police investigation. Forensic samples were eventually taken by the Guardia Civil last Saturday, it's saying, which is probably 2 Saturdays ago now. And 3 men have been questioned and released. There was a post on social media that the police were helping us, but they're not. They haven't come to us with any information. They won't get any information from the Guardia. We've talked about this before. It's just the way they work. Now, he says there have been no searches, no drones, no dogs, nothing. But from what I heard along the coast, there were a lot of helicopter searches, but I don't know. And it's just pointless trying to get any information out of the Guardia because they just won't give it you. And it says here, one of their lowest moments was when the family was thrown out of the local police station as they pleaded to help. They told us to get out of the police station. I looked at my mum and dad and they looked at me and said, what do we do here? Well, I don't know if they had their interpreter with them then, but and as I keep saying, I would say there's a way of dealing with the Guardia Civil. They don't, I know that emotions are running high for the family. Don't get wrong. I understand exactly how they would be. They just want answers now and they want urgency. But the Guardia Civil, they just don't work like that. And it's not with anyone. They will work at their own pace and there's a way of dealing. If you want the optimum help from the Guardia Civil, you have to be respectful. That's just the way it is. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong or whatever it is. I'm just saying I've spent years dealing with the Guardia Civil over all the years I've lived in Spain, and I know exactly what they're like. And you can get them on your side. But they still won't give you any information, having said that. They're secretive. That's the way their investigations work. But since then, Spanish detectives have spoken to the George family. And on Friday, they're saying that the Guardia Civil said it regarded John's disappearance as a missing person investigation. I thought they'd classed it as a murder investigation now. So this is a statement that the Sunday World are claiming has come from the Guardia. I don't know if it really has or not, but it says this must be something, I don't know if they've got it off a website. But it says the Civil Guard of Alicante on December the 21st learned of the disappearance of a 37-year-old Irishman named John Hardy. Now, I'm reading this directly from the Sunday World. Since then, all the agents have been carrying out location work, but they have not been able to provide more information so far. So there's been a lot of names bandied around on the Facebook page. I think that's stopped now. The Guardia or whoever will have said, look, don't post, don't, give out names and things because it prejudices the investigation, I would imagine. So they've got nearly 50,000 supporters on the Facebook page and they've got a GoFundMe appeal. Which they're still, obviously they need money to stay in Spain. They'll be renting somewhere to stay. There's a few of them. They'll be doing their searches. They'll probably be hoping to get professional searchers out again. So vigils and shows of support have been held in Belfast. Darren says that's keeping the family going as they survive in limbo in Spain. So it is very similar, isn't it, in that way to the Jay Slater case, because that living in limbo, so not only your son's gone missing or whichever family member, loved one is. But then you have to go to a foreign country where you don't speak the language, you don't know the way things work there, you don't know the area. It's just a nightmare. It's bad enough if your son went missing in your local area, isn't it? But when you're dealing with not only the fact that you don't know what's happened to your son, or it's likely that he's been unalived, then you've got to deal with all these other things as well. It's just horrible. So he says, if we were a bad family or involved in gangs, we wouldn't have the support we have had back home, he says. But look at the way Jay Slater's mother was treated for absolutely no reason whatsoever. The hate. I mean, there's a lot of love as well. The trouble is, once you put a GoFundMe page up, or appeal for help on social media, you're going to get the hate, but you do get the love as well. You get, the GoFundMe for Jay Slater, that sort of raised over £70,000, wasn't it? And that received a lot of criticism. Which to me is just like, well, if you don't like it, don't donate. But don't be, how dare you really tell people what they can do with their own money? If you want to donate to this GoFundMe, donate. If you don't want to donate, don't donate. That's a choice that people make. And they say, but Jay's mum in particular, Debbie Duncan, uh, she received so much hate. It was foul, absolutely foul. I tell you, some bad karma that people were invoking there that treated that family so badly. And the same with this one. There's whatever people think, don't think of John. And people don't know John, really. And who knows what the actual, what the reason is that John has been targeted, if he has been targeted. Because again, none of that has actually been confirmed officially. Whatever that reason is still two children wondering where their dad is. There's still a father and a mother wondering where their son is. Sisters and brothers wondering where their sibling is, etc. Friends, cousins, uncles. He was an uncle, so nieces and nephews. So that even if you don't care about John for whatever reason, or you decide that John was a bad man or whatever, these people, they do deserve answers, I think. So Darren said that is keeping us strong. If we didn't have that support from back home, we would feel alone, but we feel like we have the world behind us. So yeah, so support is important, and there are many ways you can support John's family, not only financial. So the thing is, if you're unable to help them financially or unwilling or whatever, you can, you know, share the Facebook post, just get John's name, photo, etc. out there as much as possible. But also, if you live in that area, if you feel like it, you can go and try and help with the searches. Personally, my own opinion, and I don't mean to, I understand why they're searching, but it is almost like a needle in a haystack. That really is. And until really they get some information more, what's the word, more pinpointed information or more specific information, I don't think that's going to yield any results. But then you never know. If you don't look, you don't find. So there's always that way to think about it. So yeah, you can share posts. You can make sure John's photos everywhere. You can share the missing poster. I made a copy of it in Spanish as well, which is on the Facebook page. Let's Find John George. Or if you feel like it, you can contribute towards the GoFundMe. So there's many ways that you can help in some small way to bring this man home to his family. But the other way, of course, if you can't do any of those things, you can pray. I noticed on the Facebook page a lot of people, God, if prayers alone could bring John home, he would be home by now. because there's so many prayers out there. He's in so many thoughts, so many candles being lit for him and his family. And that is important too, because that positivity and positive energy, it's, it's something, isn't it? So we can't underestimate the power of prayer. So that's a way that you can help, lighting a candle. Just think, it doesn't have to be a prayer, just sending out positive thoughts to the family. um, any positivity would be welcome to this family who just want to know where their loved one is. Okay, thanks for watching. Till I see you again, may your God go with you. Bye.